Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Toonkind FPS. My name is Lizzie, but also known as Liz, and today I am joined with.
Hi everyone, I'm Vwild.
Uh, I forgot to introduce our characters, but
How convenient. All right, would you like to go first, seeing as you have an adorable character?
Yes, yeah, we are off to a great start. I am going to be playing Bouquet Dust, as well as Tiffy Toot Toot. They are currently in Toontown right now. And who are you playing, V?
I'm playing Detective Little in Stagehand, and seriously, what has she gotten herself into now? Oh, peck.
Yeah, uh, Bo is here in Toontown for Animas reasons. Trying to, you know, gather family members so they can all travel to UPA. And she has run into someone Tiffy has recognized. Um, should we start at the door, or do you want to do a little bit more setting the scene of why this is happening?
I think, well, you've got that lovely comic from earlier.
Oh, yeah, I do. Let me just send this here and give a little bit of explanation. I think would be helpful to the group. Tiffy and Lynn were in a game for Halloween. They went to a nice corn maze, expecting it was fun. Some stuff happened, but it was all fine in the end.
That it was. There is absolutely no trauma whatsoever for one of the people.
However, Tiffy, being the rascal that she is, went without telling anybody. But she still had a fun time. She's a smart girl. But now the seeds are being reaped because Tiffy is now waving to a stranger and Bo does not like it.
Yes. And Lynn will have had the okay. Hey, this is the kid I like. Who the peck is that? That's not Sid. That's not Sid. Oh my god, stranger danger. Before eventually stuff may have resolved a bit. I mean, she thankfully has not kidnapped a child. Hopefully. Please tell me she didn't kidnap a child.
No, she did not kidnap a child, but the child owner is giving you a look and has asked to have a chat with you.
That is on the cards, Lynn. He's gonna agree, because I'm pretty sure she's sus that this person can and will kill her.
Anyway, um, does that lead us to the door of Lynn's place?
I think so, because she hasn't really thought of coffee place. Coffee places, they're not really in her repertoire, so it's just like when you need to talk, you go to the agency. So we enter, or we start this at the door of a place in lower mid Toontown. It's not the dingiest place. It's not the greatest either. And we find ourselves at a house on the corner, or it looks like a house. It's got a business sign and everything on it as well. And so Lynn just gets to the door, brushes off a little bit of dust on it because she hasn't really been here. Just she's been jumping in and out, and goes, "Okay, well, welcome to the Stagehands Requiem. Come on in." And she opens the door and just gestures to Tiffy, and then just like, "Oh wait, no, there's another person here as well," and then gives a little sweep as well to Bo, just like, "Come on in."
Bo would nod and step in, and I was imagining as soon as they were being led to her house, Bo did ritual cast detect magic. So if you could please tell me, um, along with this perception check, which I'm going to do quickly, that is just a 7. Bo, you please, you are a you do you do patrols for your job. Why don't you have a bad perception roll? Can you give me a bit of a description of what's going on in this house visually, and if there's anything magical in this house?
All right. Well, the second all three of you step through, it's like there is a heart doormat, and the second all three of you touch down, the house has got slightly warmer, and you can tell that's magic, and basically the entire building feels magic to an extent. There's this low level magic everywhere. So that's probably why you've got so low a perception, because it's just like everything is vaguely magic. There may be more magic. You don't know. Nobody knows unless the other house.
All
A-
right, okay.
And the house itself, we open into a very small foyer, and it's this nice, bright yellow wallpaper. There's a coat rack, there's a medical box on the side, there's more coat rack, there's an axe off to the side, which looks like a prop, maybe, and a potted plant that is definitely plastic, which has been watered. It is Reggie's.
Wonderful.
We had to give that guy some responsibility. I mean, seriously. And as that happens, Lynn's just gonna skirt past you guys again and go, "All right, well, come on in a bit further. I mean, we've got food. We've got a lot of food. I mean, seriously, Tiffy, you're gonna love it. We have got so much feckin' food right now, and we got coffee and we got hot chocolate. I'm pretty sure we got hot chocolate. And she's just gonna give a quick ramble as she just carries on further into the house, just like, okay, what peckin' food can I give a kid?
Bo will take a deep breath and say, Miss Lynn, stagehand, we have already eaten here.
Ah, okay. That's fine. Well then, I suppose coffee might be a. I mean, you normally drink coffee any time of day. Uh, well, come on in a bit further, eh? We got more of the house to see. You can take your feet off, or whatever the saying is. Yeah. And Lynn's just kind of does Tiffy. In fact, actually, with Tiffy's perception, it's like Lynn's a little out of her element, but trying to hide it. And I think Bo, if Bo wants to, can do a perception check to see that. But it's like,
should
yeah,
should I do perception or insight?
insight might
What
be
do
a
you
good idea.
think would be better?
Insight might be a good idea. Yeah.
Okay, that's slightly better, but God, this is the same rolls from the last FPS I did. Yeah, what does 11 get me?
You know she's rattled, but she doesn't quite, you don't get much. It's just like, this is an awkward monkey. That is about as far as you can get. And that basically is it, because she is just like, how the heck am I going to explain any of this? What is going on? So she just bustles you in, just gesturing with her tail, like, come on, come on, come on. Let's see if we can salvage this situation. And do you follow into the main part of the building?
Yes, tentatively, but yes.
All right. And this is a lot less cramped. It's still a cozy building, but it is a nice building. There's this plush rug on the floor. It's hardwood floor. There's the bright yellow walls, which might come up later on, and there's this giant oak wood desk with 3 chairs and a beautiful frosted stencil of stagehand's hat and other things in the room which might come up later. And Lynn just comes in, gives a little spin on the rug and goes, "Welcome." And she's gonna see how you react, because it's like, this is her home. She likes her home. She wants to show off to Tiffy just a little bit.
Tiffy is delighted, and you can hear like these sort of ringing bells that sound like church bells, but it's very faint. Um, and she starts walking and looking at the bright wallpaper and other stuff. But Bo is just staring at you, and she kind of looks behind you and looks at the free seats, like at the table, and she's like, "Should we take a seat?"
Adeline's just internally going, okay, showmanship didn't work. Peck it. All right. And she's going to go, by all means. And she's going to pull out the 2 chairs on one side and then scurry around to the other side where her semi-big chair, it's just like, she likes her chair. It's a swivel chair. And she just hops up into it and scoots in so that she's got her hands on the table. It's just like, please.
Bo takes a seat for herself and sits down. Tiffy's kind of just like, she starts following, but she gets distracted by some of the stuff in the scene, but I will jump to that later. Because Bo will try and say, so, you told me, Miss Lynn, that you were an investigator as well as a stagehand. Is that correct?
Yep, it's it's kind of in the name, Detective Little Lynn Stagehand at your service. And she's doing this big grin of, please, please.
So I'm assuming you came in contact with my charge here for investigation reasons. Is that correct?
A bit less investigation. I'll be honest with you. It was unusual circumstances. It was about a week ago now. I think it must have been no less than that. Time's funny, and she's just kind of just like rubbed the bridge of her nose for a second there, just like anyway. Do you want some coffee first? I think coffee sounds a good idea. And she's just very quickly, in fact, actually, just gonna roll a dex because. Alright, she is perfectly fine. She's just gonna dash over, grab coffee, come back, 2 cups back on the table. She's already chugged part of hers. But because it's just like she's just remembered something on that front. And then after that she's gonna go, right. So I met Tiffy at a corn maze. Were you aware of this? She was with a guy, Sid, I believe his name was. Seemed a nice guy. When he wasn't panicking.
Tiffy, not Tiffy's, Bo's face sort of like stretches thin a little, and not, yes, I was aware that Tiffy was going to Pennsylvania with Sid for Halloween. Did Sid attend Tiffy when you were there?
How on earth is she going to play this? You can kind of see the wince of she doesn't want to lie, but he was present at the end. I'll admit it was. I found young Tiffy when we were going into the core maze, and me and it was 2 others, Rye and a Mr. Teal. The Teal. We looked after your daughter. I believe.
Bo sort of hesitates and then nods at daughter. Yeah, that's correct.
Lynn gives a little smile at that and goes, right, so we were going through the maze together, us and your daughter. She was taken care of to the best of our abilities. There were minor hiccups inside. And she's going to lean a little bit and go, has she talked to you about anything that happened? Or, I mean, she got some nice stuff out of it, but and she's just going, just say what you know.
Bo sort of like does that little like kiss of the teeth and say, no. She did tell me that she went to a maze, but it was just excitement. Just she was happy. If yes, she didn't tell me about any of the details.
There is kind of this, and even with your investigation roles from before, you kind of just see her shoulders lower a little bit in sort of relief, just like happy memories. That's pretty good, seeing as the last time Lynn saw Tiffy, scratch marks and having been grappled multiple times. And Lynn just kind of nods and goes, "Oh, that's a relief. I mean, a lot of stuff did happen. She was unharmed. She was unharmed. There was nothing happened to her. I mean, there were incidents, but what was she there?" And Lynn's just kind of like rubbing her forehead on this one, just trying to think on was no, it was the other two. The other two were present for that. Tiffy was off for a bit, and then she came back. Okay, and she's just kind of looked up again and going, "Well, everything was fine."
Was
I mean, and Lynn's kind of like opening her jaw slightly and then just closing it because it's like, and she is trying to think because you might have heard her as she was muttering, going that someone saw something, but she's trying to figure out how exactly to explain this maze.
she has time? She's sort of like just she has not drank from the coffee you have given her.
Good or bad thing? Oh, pick. Okay. Well, all right. So the entire maze in general was a wonderful thing. It was brilliant craftsmanship, uh, made by Jax Macabre, I believe his name was, and I believe his boyfriend or husband or something. Wonderful, wonderful folk. We didn't entirely know that at the time. We knew it was a maze. Then there were skeletons and ghosts and zombies, and that was a an adventure. I'll tell you that much. Uh, Tiffy did go off for a very brief period, but we were informed afterwards that everything was fine. No one was actually meant to be harmed. I mean, but it was fine. I mean, Tiffy was unharmed.
Did
Yeah.
anybody else get harmed in this situation?
Eh, I'm gonna make a. In fact, do you want to make another investigation? Well, because I'm just thinking.
Again, is this investigation or insight? Because investigation is like so, insight is trying to get a beat on the personality. Investigation is trying to piece together a story. Which
Do
one do you think it would be?
do insight.
Okay. Bo, Bo,
I'm
please.
gonna give you advantage for the sole reason of you've slightly intimidated Lynn because
Oh, I'm glad that came across.
eh,
Yeah.
all right, you see this wince from Lynn as she just like rubs her knuckles and she's at first she was gonna play it off as a joke of just only I got her, ha ha ha. But no, she she can't do that, and she goes, "The the other child did get a little hurt. They were fine. It was their name's Rye. They stayed here for a brief moment afterwards, and they were perfectly fine. It was more my fault than the maze, and I still need to recover from that. I still need to repay that child for that. But your child was unharmed in its entirety. I promise. And as she's done this, and with that perception roll, with that roll, you see her features, which they are monkey, but they do get slightly more wolfish for a second before she checks herself, and it just like there was for a second her hair got coarser and her snout got a bit longer and teeth and claws, but she pulled it straight back immediately.
Yeah, Bo is definitely gonna be curious about that. But should we
Oh yeah,
pivot to Tiffy Toot Toot, who
yeah.
is now poking at your stuff?
There is an awkward stalemate in the background. Cut to small child. We love small child. All right,
Small child.
all right. Tiffy, the world is your oyster. Which wall do you want to look at first? What do you want to?
Um, God, I'm not sure. Oh. I want to look at the job bulletin that's on the left wall.
All right. So you just skip on over there, and it is sort of a mess. Honestly, just like you can see bits and bobs on it. Do you want to try and interpret it? Because you can if you want to.
Yeah, I can roll investigation.
Oh.
I need to make sure I'm on the right character sheet. I was not on the right character sheet. This is wow. Huh. Oh, a Tiffy. All right.
All right. Tiffy sees all, and there is this notice board. It's quite tall. She's probably going to have to take a couple of steps back just to be able to see all of it, and it is covered in different job ideas and careers. There's flyers for different places. There's red string on bits. There's tags. There's notes going, this looks like an interesting case, or hey, we heard something was going on over here. You might want to check it out. And there's a few which are now like crumpled on the floor, and they're all signed from Reggie. Reggie is no longer allowed to give ideas. Reggie has been banned from the board.
Wow.
They're
Listen,
like,
he was trying.
he sent her to a cheese vault. She stank of cheese. This room does still, those pieces of paper do ever so slightly smell of cheese.
Incredible. God, wow.
She now partially hates cheese with a prejudice.
Mm.
If she never smells cheese again, it'll be too soon. You do notice with that roll as well, there are a few at the bottom that are just kind of buried under other things, which are invites to stagehand group hangouts, to movies, to just small things. Like there's one which is from some random person, you can't quite make out the name, just goes, hey, you haven't been to a cider night in a while, drinks on me. And you don't quite get it, but you've got a feeling that Lynn's been covering them up a little bit as she buries herself in other work.
Hmm. Um, I done a hammer space roll for Tiffy as she's looking at these stuff, and she is now writing down the addresses of these invites, if there is any.
There are a few. There are a few. Some of them are for studios. There's like Tuning Fork Studios, or there's Saber. You think that's pronounced? You're not entirely sure. But most of them are for, ironically, places that seem. In fact, actually, you don't know Toontown, so yeah, they could be any. They could be anywhere. You don't know. And are we gonna leave Tiffy there, or is Tiffy gonna explore a little more?
I think we might leave Tiffy there. She sort of trots off somewhere else. Um, I'm. Should I do an Arcana, or nature check to see what the heck went on with Lynn over there?
I think Arcana might be slightly better, possibly. It's like,
Okay.
which
Oh,
one
I
is
just
she
realized
stronger in?
they're both the same. I don't know why. Well, I know why I asked for the differences, because there's a difference between knowing this is magical and knowing, what physically happened to the body.
Oh,
But
then
yeah, let's.
nature might be a good idea. If you're doing with body, then nature would definitely be a good idea. So roll that.
No, 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 wait. Let me do Arcana because she's a witch, and I have, yeah. Okay.
All right. So with a 13, with a 13, you can tell there was a flicker of something, and almost as though if you're actually looking at it as though getting a magic reading, there's this sort of red aura that comes from this red, and then this bleached aura that comes from her left shoulder as she was thinking about stuff and went wolf, and then she pulled it back, and her entire sketching almost seemed to shudder a little bit as she did it. And
Man.
I think Lynn's gonna do a. I think let's go insight. Let's play into our insight today, folks. And
That's most FPS games is insight the role, the game.
at a 16, how did Bo react to seeing this?
Um, just like pure inquisitivity. She doesn't have eyes, but you can see the slightest sketch of like eyebrows sort of like get drawn in and then disappear as she sees the sort of, oh, magic, not just magic on this house, magic on you. Okay, we are not dealing with the average Joe here. We are dealing with somebody who has had some special encounters. Um, but she doesn't really, she doesn't linger on it, and she kind of just says, how long have you been in this business of investigating and or being a stagehand, Miss Lynn?
Well, depends on which one you're going with. Stagehand, that would be pretty much since I was very, very tiny. I was a lot tinier back then. I mean, heck, and she just pulls on her lapels and she goes, I've had this as long as I've been a stagehand. And you look at it and it's a little bit threadbare, just like ever so slightly. It's really well maintained, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, that this is well worn.
Hmm.
And then she like leans back a bit with the other side of it, and she's like, um, let's see, detective. Legally, yeah, legally about 17, I think. I mean, the kid detectives. I mean, have you met how many people are detectives around here? I mean, seriously, it's that kid detective should be its own class of thing. I mean,
Yeah, it's kind of concerning, but it's the nature of tunes, I guess, to be inquisitive.
but indeed. But so by that standard, I've been a detective for about. If I started when I was 17 illegally, so around 4 years. And that's what I'm saying if there's a police present. Then again, all police are peckers, so hey, what you gonna do?
Mm. Um. Hmm.
And I think from earlier when she kind of sussed with the wolf thing, she is wondering whether you're fully gonna let that go because she is glancing at Tiffy and like, if you want to, she gives this ever so slight nudge to her side office if you do want to talk about this because it might come out.
Um, Bo is thankful for the opportunity. But give me a second, because this is one with Tiffy all alone out here. If she's being quite honest, um, hmm,
Do you say that
check
out loud?
through. No, of course not. Checking through spells, checking through spells, checking through spells, checking through spells. I got nothing. um, yeah, I wish I had more utility cantrips, but hey, what the fuck can you do? Um, yeah, she she does follow, but she basically wants to keep an eye on Tiffy, like out of the corner of her eye. So let me check the map again. Where is the corner office? Is it to the right?
It's to the right, yeah. And
Okay.
if Lynn sees you just like doing that, she'll give a on the door as she's doing it, and it stays ajar. And that there is this faint there as you're walking in, she's just like she glances back at Tiffy and then just does this little low whistle to herself and there's this and you can go back into the office, but yeah, something's watching over Tiffy. She's gonna be fine.
No, I don't know this thing. Well, internally, Bo is like, I don't know this thing personally. So even though you have executed on magic, Tiffy is gonna sort of guide. But Bo is gonna guide Tiffy away from the sort of job bulletin wall and like put Tiffy on near the table.
Yeah,
Um,
keep the child monitored.
just to be in that, just keep her in eyesight, even if the door is staying ajar and something is quote unquote watching. Um, and Bo will ask as you're sort of getting seated, how long have you been adjusted to magic?
That is a longer story. Uh, I've I've known magic. I mean, stagehands. We know our cantrips. I mean, I don't. I'm not actually that adept at that sort of thing. And the magic that you just because I know a little bit about magic. I know you're wondering about your kid. I've seen a lot of people worried about their kids. I worry about a lot of the kids here. I mean, seriously, I'm pretty sure I've adopted a lot of kids. I mean, I've adopted a lot of kids in the past week. But the house, the house looks after its own. The network looks after its own. So you don't have to worry about your kid when they're here. They're always going to be safe when they're here, and you if you need it. Uh, but anyway, magic. uh, depends on what type of magic. And yeah, she's rubbing her shoulder. She's sussed where this is going.
I am not 100% brushed up on my magical know-how, but I do know some things about curses. Uh,
Oh, you've hit a mild nail on the head, and she does do the yeah. All right.
mm,
So this, what I'm about to tell you, it stays. Stagehands know about it. The network, as I said, we take care of our own. But I'd prefer if you didn't share what I'm about to tell you with other people. It just makes things a bit harder. You get it?
Yeah.
And she gives a nod and goes, all right. And just, she leans back so that she's going to be sitting in her chair, and it's just enough so that she's not in view of Tiffy. I mean, Tiffy could have gone walkabouts for all they know. And
She probably has, honestly.
like, seriously, you put a kid in one place and the kid does not stay in that place. It's like herding cats. And Lynn partially takes off her waistcoat and her tailcoat on her left shoulder, and she just tugs it off, and you see something that's weird. It's this jagged V that's almost bleached through her fur, and it goes from her entire shoulder blade down to around halfway down her chest, and it looks stretched and elongated. And in fact, give me a, what would you give if you were looking at a person and trying to suss something? Perception?
Just like pure visual of how
Yeah,
much you pick out, because
this
that
is,
would just be perception.
yeah.
Is that correct? Yeah, I have to remember I didn't actually add the proficiency on the sheet. Hello, natural 20.
Oh, you see, and you see how her very sketching, like, you're actually looking, and beyond the fur, which around this, well, scar, this a few years old scar, there's darker fur. It's coarser. It's a lot more wolfish than it could ever be, little plush monkey. And her entire sketching around it, and beyond that, looks more frayed, more sketchy than an actual outline. And as soon as she's clocked that you've seen, she goes, "Hey, I was 18. It was, I was on a case. It was, you might want to sit down for this one. It's a little bit of a story." So,
Uh,
in the second you've taken that seat, do you?
mm-hmm.
All right. So it was, yeah, it was about 3 years ago. Would have been 3 years ago. Time doesn't really make much sense to me. I don't really sleep. Anyway, I back then I did small scale cases. I did things to help other stagehands. It's where I came from, so it's what I did. I helped out find missing props. Find I'd wrangle things. I'd chase down one or two directors when they got a bit too sleazy, and, well, helped things come into the light on those ones. And then I got a big case, and it started out small. It was one of the stage cats. They didn't come in one day, and then they didn't come in the next day or the next, and I went round, and their girlfriend, she hadn't seen them, so I started searching for them. And when I started searching for them, I started searching for another person who went missing, and then another, and then another, and before I knew it, I had a entire board of, and she kind of gestures to a wall in her office and goes, and it's full of people. And she went, and I found not just one stagehand missing, but lots, over a dozen, and then more people, but ragamuffins, vagabonds, lots of people from the lower levels, the expendables, the ones that the police just couldn't be bothered to go find. And so I did. I mean, I'm the detective of the stagehands. It's my job. It's my duty to protect them and to protect other people that are under my care. So I did. And then I did find them. And she kind of perks up at that. And there's this hint of nostalgia there. And she goes, And it was going to be my best case yet. I was going to go in, I was going to be like all of the movies. It was going to be incredible. And I tracked down whoever those group did. I never fully figured out who it was. And I found the warehouse and I cracked it in and I actually got in some good hits. I did good and I found them and I was getting the people out and yeah, I forgot a very important life lesson. Things aren't like movies. And what a common crook, there's a difference between thugs and a mastermind who's kidnapped several dozen people and you've only got a dozen. And I was getting them out, and there was one of the stagehands turned back around and she screamed, and I turned, and there was this thing. And Lynn has gone almost as though she's looking back at that moment. And then she just kind of rubs the scar on her shoulder and she goes, there wasn't any time to react. It was this big thing. I don't even know what it was. I don't know where it came from. It was just there and it was coming for us. And so I threw my arms out and it just went chomp. And after that, well, I think I got hit with my axe. Everything kind of became a blur. Police arrived. Other stagehands got out. I'm pretty sure a lot of people got away. I know whatever it was, got away. And I didn't exactly have money to go to a hospital, so I came back here and I went to sleep with. I think I might have taken painkillers. I don't know. And 3 days later, I wake up with this lovely new addition, and well, and she pulls a little picture off of her desk, and that picture it's her with a stage crew, and yeah, she's a lot shorter in that and a lot more fluffy. And she just kind of glances at you and goes, and that's me. I've just realized you're muted, Liz.
Throughout that entire explanation, Bo has just been holding this serious face, just sort of unreadable, just a blank slate, even during the parts where you were sort of relishing in the nostalgia of how well the situation went. But yeah, she's just there's now just like a little bit of a shift, and she's just thinking.
I can handle it. I do good at handling it. As long as I keep smart, I keep sharp, I keep the reins on this. Well, the bite isn't the only thing, and the looks I've got now. I mean, I'm what you'd call a freak of nature. It comes with another attribute. And she's just gonna like ever so slightly tuck the door a little more. And shall we cut to Tiffy for a second there, if you want?
Yeah, Tiffy's in your chair. You know your very nice, cushy, spinny chair. She's
Yeah.
just having a blast in it, just rattling it away. But then she kind of stops and takes a look at what was it? The that the sort of wall behind her, the frosted glass sensor, and actually, yeah. What do we do? Do we do the center thing or the edge stuff? I'm gonna roll a d3. That's a 1. So the wall of pride to the left on the back wall.
The wall of pride on either side, that is, you can glance over there and there are cases. There's these framed photos of newspaper articles, and they're small ones. They're very small newspapers, but they're from all over, and you can see Lynn. But and do you get closer to a couple of them?
Yeah.
Right. And as you do, you notice that Lynn look different. Like you see a couple of them, and Lynn looks like your size, maybe slightly taller than you. And this is a lot fluffier looking what Lynn. I mean, in 1 or 2, she's got a perfect tail. I mean, she hasn't got the little crook that you've seen before. That's weird.
Tiffy has now produced a little magnifying glass and is like analyzing that.
Oh, analyze away, little one. And you see there are some from years upon years back. There's even one in UPA, but she's been mainly Toontown centric from what you can tell. And they are small cases. It's just like young child finds missing dog, or those ones at first, and then it gets bigger. Detective stagehand cracks minor case, funding refound, or a director that mysteriously has just skipped town for unknown reasons. And as you travel along, you go from the left and you go past this lovely frosted glass stencil and you make it to the other side. And then you see Lynn looking a bit more like you know her now. But still not quite. She's got the crooked tail, she's got the coarser fur, she's got the wilder looks. And then, but it's not quite her until a year back, where it's like, she looks, and you've got the magnifying glass and that sort of stuff, so I'm just going to give this to you straight up. She looks, in some of these images, very stone faced compared to the smiles that she had in the first cases. She used to look triumphant and happy of, hooray, I cracked the cases, and now she's got this, yeah, I'm taking this on my shoulders, I'm protecting the people, I'm doing my best. And in 1 or 2 where it's an investigation of, well, a murder that she's cracked, she looks very similar to how you saw her when you were in the mansion, when she'd shifted back only recently. And all the ones that look like that look as though they've been in the last year. And you don't know what to make of that, but something's changing.
Yeah, Tiffy's very confused and scared and concerned because she likes you and you're sad, but you also look like that before. What happened? What happened? So she kind of looks around the room again, and is that place to the left open? Next to the wall of pride to the left, is that visible to Tiffy?
I don't think it would be, but roll a perception with advantage, and you're going to understand why.
Okay, cool. I need to get the right sheet. Perception, but yes. Okay. Right. 1 and 2. Fuck, that's a 13.
Oh, you kind there's the hum from earlier just kind of rings out again, and you don't know where that's coming from. What is that noise? And
Um, can I please have this moment of Tiffy like I imagine the divide between what Bowen's and uh Lynn is talking about and what Tiffy's doing is very different. Whereas the sort of hum comes in, Tiffy's like quietly like it looks like she's whispering like sounds. Like do you know when you sort of like beatbox sounds, but instead of it being mouth sounds, it's a full out just drum kit, very carefully doing like this sort of slow jazz type beat as she's sort of trying to track down the sound and see if she can like find the source of it.
oh, you can absolutely do that because that hum has got louder, and the room has gotten a little warmer. And if you look around, if you look back to the wall that you were at, the yellow of the walls has got a little brighter, cheerier. And you might not get where you want to get, but you're gonna find something.
All right. Should she find the thing, or should we cut back to Bo and Lynn?
I think you should cut back to Bo and Lynn because it's yep. But we can cut back to Bo and Lynn, and I've done a lot of talking. So how does Bo want to react?
Miss Stagehand, you are not a freak of nature. You are just ill. You have been hurt. Um, you have been through a lot.
And Lynn kind of just takes off her hat for a second and scrubs her forehead, and just her hair's going everywhere, but it's just like, yeah. And you know what they say about sickness? It can get worse.
Mm,
I don't want to freak out Tiffy, but or the other stagehands. I mean, I don't talk about this to other stagehands. And she's kind of looking at you, and you can tell your seriousness from earlier. It's actually done something good here because she's like, this is a responsible figure who looks after a good kid. They can be trusted. And she's gone. It's getting worse. I I don't know what's going on. I haven't been able to track down what did this to me because the police absolutely butchered the crime scene. I mean, any traces of what or where or how that thing was those years ago got trodden into the dust, and the gang disappeared off the face of the earth. I don't know what it was. It could have even been the Peking Yakuza. It could have been real kind. I'm pretty sure I saw a real kind there. And she's rambling a little, and she goes, and medication costs money, and I look after people, and I'll admit I forget to look after myself. And jobs aren't exactly easy to come by when you look like this, because stagehands are meant to be not seen, and everyone looks at the this. So it's in the last year it got worse. I don't know why. I mean, the cold front. I mean, there was that battle at the Mississippi. That was something to watch, and the back alleys after that, crime went through the roof for a little bit, and turns out I can turn into a. And she stops herself for a second there because she was gonna say something, and she's not.
mm-hmm.
And she just kind of looked at you, and then she's just gonna roll. In fact, do you want to say anything to that? Because
like she was just listening to you speak. What she did, like an eyebrow went up, like just yeah. You gonna continue with
it, and she's just gonna ever so slightly, just for a millisecond, just peep out and just check on Tiffy because she's gonna make sure the kid didn't see this, and she's actually gonna say that she goes, your kid didn't see this. The others did. The injury I told you about earlier with young Rye, and Lynn, before your eyes, Bo, she goes slightly further back into the room, into the corner, and she shifts. You see this little monkey, her fur puffs out for a second, and then it gets darker. And her sketching almost blurs and elongates. And you're not looking at a monkey anymore. You're not looking at something that's 3'6" and semi-plush. No, you're looking at a 4 foot. You don't know what it is. Is it a wolf? Is it a bear? Is it some type of big cat? You don't know. It's got some monkey attributes, but you don't know. And she just kind of hunches over because she can't stand up on her feet properly. She's just kind of gargle crouched now. She goes, I can now turn into this. Surprise!
Cause like Bo doesn't really recoil or anything. Like signs were sort of pointing towards, okay, it's one of those kind of curses that change the body. And she was whittling it down to lycanthropy. But there's a kind of look on her face, and you can roll insight if you want.
I think she most certainly will. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's
Damn, that's an 8. Yeah, you can see that she's just like berating something. Nothing to do with you, but she's berating something. And she takes a deep breath and she's like, I am not a skilled magician. But I do have I do know people who may be able to help. And she's like rubbing it at her like forehead. Um uh I I I personally I personally have not seen this before, but I've the people that I work with have helped people with curses before. Oh God, should have been there.
Should have been where? Are your friends all right?
My friends my wow, you caught her off guard by saying her friends. Um my compatriots are fine. My compatriots are versed in magic, and they helped a person with a curse they had to do with, I think, a pact. I don't know if this lycanthropy is not a pact. It's a curse that can be transmitted by bloodline. I think. I'm just gonna say this outright. Bo is trying to recall stuff, me personally, as the player, does not know that much about D&D lycanthropy or the actual mythology behind it. So she's just trying to sort of find a way to that there has to be a way. She knows there's a way to reverse this, um, but she's struggling to find the specifics, and she struggles with words in general. Um, I know. I know you said that you didn't want anybody else to know about this, and I am aware about those kind of situations. This is personal, but I also see this is mentally and physically eating away at you. So
It does have that tendency. It's sometimes harder to control than others. I mean, when in this form, and she just kind of just does this sort of agitated gesture before she realizes she's still in this form, and she like shifts it back. Like that is a hard kick back into being little monkey. And she goes, it it's almost as though it's another thing. It's like stepping to the left sometimes, and that's how little Rye got hurt, because I was so focused on finding Tiffy and making the skeletons go away, and I didn't. Oh, that was a noise. We're in Toontown. There's weird cars. Anyway, I was so focused on making the skeletons go away and finding Tiffy, I forgot to monitor it, and it got loose and it hurt people. And that's why I don't tell people about it, because I mean, in a group of 3, I can possibly only hurt one, maybe I can find a way of getting away. If I was around stagehands when I shifted, imagine what had happened. Or other people, there are so many innocent people, and I could hurt any of them. I could hurt a lot of people, and I want to fix this, but I don't. You said your friends knew about curses. I've been looking, and she kind of gestures to another board, and it is incredibly sparse. It's got quite a few very glorified images of werewolves. They look pretty dang terrifying. Seriously, where did she get them from? And she goes, if they've got anything on curses, I'm willing to hear it out, but you'd better have stuff in place, because I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to hurt people. I've never wanted to hurt people, and I've hurt a kid. Oh, Pick. And that's all she can say, really, because she wants help, but she doesn't know how to get that help.
I think it kind of lingers of the image of Lynn at one side of the desk and Bo sort of leaning on the other side of the desk, just sort of thinking, because Bo is not a very touchy-feely person. Jesus Christ. Anyway, um, did you want to bounce to what Tiffy was doing in the bright corner of the room?
I think so. Let's go on to something happier, right? What's the little kid investigating now?
Do I roll investigation, or is it did it just
I think you know where you're going, so just wander on over there, because
yeah, okay. Take me to that room.
right, or there's something you should see first, and I think with your passive perception, it's 16, right?
Yes, why is it 16?
This is a smart kid. And as you've been beatboxing, there's this. The hum has been getting localized? Question mark? And it's almost as though if you glance around, the walls of yellow are getting brighter at a specific spot. And would you like to wander over to the wall just next to the foyer?
Hmm. Yes.
You are at the wall of love. And as you get close to it, it's almost gold at this point. And do you want to take a look at what's on the wall of love, pray tell?
Perception check time. Please, I need to roll this in the correct space. There you go.
15. You see sketches. And there are lots of sketches with these pin marks in the top. And as you're looking at them, Tiffy, you see you. You see a sketch of you, and then there's one next to it of Rye, and another one of Teal, although his is in a different pin colour. And there's more. There's lots more. There's a real kind on there. There's two real kinds on there. There's this thing you're not entirely sure what it is. It's definitely a toon, and it's a child. And you see more and more of them as you're looking, and they cover the entire wall. You're not quite sure how you missed this earlier, but it stretches from either side of the opening to the foyer, and then and I'm gonna yeah, you know what? Just for we're getting some warmth, we're getting some happiness. You see lines behind this, and at first you think, yeah, this is just part of the marbled wallpaper, but wait, no, the wallpaper was yellow. And as you look, you see stretching out from behind these sketches threads, threads upon threads of golds and rainbows and silvers, and they're part of the wall, they're through the wall, and you look around and you look across and you see a network of threads as part of the walls. And you get another and the humming has been from all around you all this time. You have been semi communicating with the house, with, as it's called, the network. Congratulations, Tiffy. You've made a friend. How's Tiffy gonna react to this? Because you've got a friend in the house now. Literally.
Mm. Oh, let me do a roll. No. Oh, she's gonna pull out a cookie.
There is this rush of air. You're not sure where this air comes from. There are no windows open and there are no vents, and it's just this rush of air that goes around you, and it's warm and it's like a hug, and it's laughing. The house is laughing. And would you like to roll a, let's see, history, investigation, insight, whichever one you're strongest in, and you're going to have advantage because the house wants to show you something.
Okay, insight. I think that makes the most sense, and it's the best roll for Tiffy. Just double checking. Yeah, that's Tiffy's page. And then roll that again. Come on. Yeah.
Dice passer, play nice, please.
Wow. Playing dirty, huh?
Oh. You kind of see it. You're gonna have to do some digging, but underneath the sketches, there's another sheet of paper, and I'm gonna give it to you because honestly, like seriously, let Tiffy see nice things. things. Let Tiffy have fun in the house. And underneath all of this, there is a picture, and it is of young Lynn, and it's sketched, and it's got blueprints for this house. She is, and this is an old sketch. It's yellowed, it's faded, it's worn at the edges from where someone's picked it up and brushed it over and over and over again. And this house is her. It's the reason why it's magic. It's made of love. It was crafted and built and dusted and polished until it was brimming with love, and then she filled it with people. And she's been shutting those people out, but she's been trying the invite. It all clicks because of your passive perception. The invites that were hidden away, the wall as it's changed a year ago, there weren't any people in the background of those final newspapers. There was just her. And there are pictures on the walls of her with stagehands, and then they stop. And those invites, she's been isolating herself, and the house has seen someone come in that she's let in, and that she wants people to care for Lynn. She wants people to care for the maker of her network. And she's seen you with this bright gold thread related to you, and she's gone, "You're one of ours. Help her."
Tiffy has pulled out paper and scented markers, and she is scribbling. And I think we can bounce back to the office with Bou and Lynn, because Bou has something she wants to say. Wow, I just forgot what she was going to say. Wow, huh? Well, Bou is like, I understand your hesitance of telling the people who also work and reside here of the full situation. So if I may speak from personal experience, having connections with folks does help because they can surprise you, and they can shape you into something that can help, like, release the things that you have kept inside that has been choked. But that is enough words from me. But I do request that you, and she's like taking out paper, and well, first I should roll hammer for that. Taking out paper, that was so fucking close. She's taking out paper and is scribbling an address, two addresses actually, one in Toontown and one in Villestown. And she sort of tears it out and passes it to you. One of them is labeled Sid with a harsh point.
Ha! I know that guy.
Yeah, and the other one is just labeled Brecht Brigade, and you may want to roll history if you want.
I think she most certainly does. Now, what is history? Okay, so.
Oh,
Hey!
shit. Okay, so you know how you mentioned you were at the Mississippi River, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I feel like some paper might have mentioned that the whole reason people in the street were fighting spoilers for Taffy Train reunion. The reason why people in the street were fighting zombies, it kind of kicked off because somebody shot a fucking gun in the middle of the crowd, and people started going ape.
Oh,
Um, that it has been coined that it was the sort of fight back from the masses was started by the leader of the Brecht Brigade.
oh. And you kind of see Lynn's expression just like as she pieces that together, because she was just there to make sure all the stagehands were safe. Because when a film's riding on a lot of stuff, people can treat the staff pretty badly to make sure everything goes right. And then all of a sudden that all kicked off, and now she's just here going, oh, oh. And she looks up at you and she's just like, oh, thank you. Oh, I better give you. And she's just like patting herself down, like, business cards. I always give out a business card. I am giving out a business card to you. This is business carding, networking. We are networking.
Oh,
Yay!
nice.
It would have been hilarious if she'd pulled out her octopus called Harold, but we haven't got time for that. And so, yep, she's given you one of her business cards, and the back of it is the exact same yellow as the wallpaper. And she gives it to you. It's like, you know where to find me, and well, I can't thank you enough for what you're doing here. I mean, this is, and you can't. She hasn't actually got the words, and she's just kind of looking at you, and it's just like, yeah, you've earned her trust. You came in here as a unknown variable, and no, you've got her trust now. She cares about you. You've acquired a bodyguard.
Oh shit, no.
Lynn will
But
die for both of you now. It's too late.
no, this is the second time this has happened. Bo like kind of feels that radiance and he's like, Miss Lynn Stagehand, I just want to make sure that you are okay physically and mentally. This is the least that I can do. This is what I do. Huh. Anyway, I will be speaking to Sid. And in the future, if we do see Tiffy by herself, do you know ASL, right?
Yep, and she actually starts signing it. Lots of stage know it. I mean, seriously, we've got people who are mute, we've got people who've got Grolix, we've got people from all over. You pick it up very easily, and she's throwing in some signs that they look like a shorthand because it's Toon ASL with a stagehand's twist because you pick up stuff fast.
Mm. You do ask her if she knows where Sid is, and she's trying to think if there's anybody else. Sarah, maybe? Just ask if somebody else came with her. Um, it would save me the trouble of trying to ask people to care for a child. And she kind of looks fed up, like, God fucking damn it. God damn it. And then she just kind of just like shakes her head and says, I think I have spent a lot of your time here, and we do have places to go.
Oh, but by all means, and she's just gonna like start leading you out. She's gonna, or out into the main room, and just like, if you're ever back in town, I mean, we've got food at the moment. We've got so much peckin' food. You have no idea. We have got cheese. We have got. I'm pretty sure I managed to snag some pasta. We have got lots of meat. I mean, and I'm not sure whether cheese turtle is edible, but I'm gonna find out. This is gonna be a peckin' feast. But you're free to be by anytime you want. You and your kid are wonderful. You are invited anytime.
Belle does not know what a cheese turtle is, and she is not going to ask. Um, and also, I need to roll this other thing. Wow. Lynn, what's your passive perception?
That definitely not that high.
Oh,
It's a
6.
13.
So Tiffy sort of just runs around you, just like in a spin, just like bouncing. There's like the sounds of like. Do you know what's the? I don't even know the name of the song, but the dun 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 dun
Uh,
dun dun
uh,
dun 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 dun. But yeah, that fucking song.
uh,
She's playing that like on a big piano that you'd find in the mall, like around you.
Lynn was looking semi-serious. Now it's she's got the biggest smile on her face of this is a child she loves, and this child is adorable. And she's just like, Tiffy, hey, oh, what you doing, kiddo? What you doing?
And she kind of just looks after she's done spinning around you. She kind of looks sheepish, and she's like twisting her body as this sort of piano tune sort of comes out of her mouth. And both like, Tiffy, we are saying our goodbyes to Miss Liz Stagehand. Um, we might pop by before we leave town. We are staying at this inn. I think I put it on the back of the paper I gave you. It was a pleasure meeting you.
It was a pleasure meeting you, and honestly, either of you come back anytime you want. Although, Tiffy, you might want to come with someone. I mean, I've only just learned about Sid fully. I'm pretty sure he's going to be pecking murdered, but hey, what do I know? Anyway, uh, but you can come back anytime. I've got spare rooms. Honestly, we spare rooms to share. You can come in anytime for any need. And the house is brightened that bit more. It's like Lynn kind of gives it a little pat on the wall with her tail, just like, no, no, do not blind them.
uh, Rose just like kind of looks up at the house. It's like, okay, all right.
Oh, you look up. You look up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So there's a lovely thing about Lynn of she has a potty mouth, and as well as on the ceiling the beautiful, beautiful threads of that you've now seen because the house is very happy. Yeah, you see tattooed Growlix on the ceiling,
What the hell?
and she's just like, yeah, uh, don't ask.
She just gives you another stoned look, and then she just nods. Cause like, okay. And she makes her leave.
Yeah. Just like you guys get a big wave at the door, Tiffy gets a hug, you are invited back anytime. Like,
Incredible. God. I Before you like fully leave, something sort of rustles in your pocket.
hmm?
Um, you take it out.
Oh yeah, she's like, what the peck? Okay. And she's gonna pull it out of her pocket.
It is glittery. It is sparkly, and it has a ladybug on it, like a ladybug sticker, and the ladybug is sort of animating, like its wings are flapping. Um, and I'm just gonna leave it on you, just opening up the letter, and that's it.
Ah! Oh, that is great. She's definitely, but I think that's. Do you want to keep that private or?
Yeah, because I want to write what the I want to
Oh,
write what the letter says, and I didn't really think about it, but I know the gist of it.
all right.
But
Yeah, she's she's gonna go back to her big desk, sit down, and she's gonna open it to read it. And that's, I think, where we end. The house
Yeah.
glowing.
Oh, that was so cute. And I am bloody eyes emojis at Lynn and Law, and my heart. God, we should say goodbye before we stop this recording.
But thank you for listening, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye bye. So